Would you please call the roll?
Mr. Butler?
Here.
Mr. Kruger?
Present.
Mr. Metzler?
Here.
Mrs. Talley?
Here.
Mr. Unati?
Here. You'd all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As this is a special board meeting, we're going to dispense with the regular format. And moving to section B, public voice, is there any? At this time we do not have any. No, good enough, thank you. We're going to move on to section C, which is a discussion of the school-based plan for the current school year. And Mr. Sutler, if you would please go over the calendar and all the details.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mr. Unati. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our viewers. Tonight, I'm here to share some very exciting news about our school plan. As everyone knows, since the start of the school year, we have been operating in a hybrid learning level, which is in the school-based track. We were only one of two school districts actually start in the hybrid level in Franklin County at that time. Back in August, the board gave me the authority to make changes to the plan as I deemed necessary, and as you remember, we went to remote learning right before winter break, and then a week after winter break because of the numbers that we've seen in quarantines with the school district. Well, tonight I'm very happy to announce another change to our plan, a change that we are going to expand the number of school days for students that are currently in the school-based track, which are our hybrid students only. So this decision affects hybrid students only, does not affect our Koala students. Koala will remain in the Koala track. I'll probably say that a couple times tonight just so people realize that. So we're just going to get down right to it. Starting March 22nd, we will start back 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday and Friday. And we will follow that schedule until the end of April. And then starting May 3rd, Monday, May 3rd, we're going to go to 5 days a week until the end of the school year. And that is the change that I have proposed for our school plan for our hybrid kids, which are in a school-based track at this time. The Wednesdays during the month of April is what I talked about earlier. In February, we're going to use that for koala testing, or koala state testing for our koala students with the state test during the month of April. The state test is still there. We have to give it, and so we're going to use those Wednesdays. We have about 700 students in the koala program that would have to take the test. We'll bring them in on Wednesdays. And then starting in May, we're going to go back to a 5-day schedule, expanded to a 5-day schedule for all students in the hybrid model. Now, again, I want to reemphasize this is for our hybrid model students only. School-based track, Koala will remain in the Koala track. I know there might be some parents who might not feel a little uneasy about expanding the school days to 4 and 5 days come May. So we're going to give them an option if they would like to choose to go from the hybrid to Koala. We're going to open it up until March 12th, Friday, March 12th, for parents to make that decision. They will need to contact their building principal as soon as possible, either email or via a phone call, to let them know that they would like to have their child switch from the school-based track, which is hybrid, to the Koala. And then once we get that information, we'll make the schedule changes, and we will start on March 22nd, expanding to 4 days a week, and then May 3rd, we'll expand to 5 days a week for our students.
Mr. Sutler, just as a clarification, I see it says here increase the school-based days. That doesn't change the school calendar. I just want to make sure
That is correct.
people understand that's not.
School calendar stays the same. We're expanding it to 2 more days a week through April, and then 3 days a week for May. Everything else stays the same. We have March 29th through 30th is our spring break, and then we come back pretty much all through April and May, besides Memorial Day, with 5 days a week.
And obviously, this is on the school website for them to reiterate, take a look at the calendar.
As soon as we're done with the meeting tonight, we're going to post this information on the school website.
Good enough.
A few of the reasons for the decision. If you have been watching the numbers in the state of Ohio, we have been going down. Franklin County has been going down. our COVID numbers. Mrs. Kruger, if you could bring up the spreadsheet. And if you want to go to this case data, there you go, right there, and go all the way down to the bottom, to the last screen. Hopefully it comes up. There it is right there. You can center that a little bit. So these are the numbers from November, starting November 9th through last week. And these are numbers of COVID cases, student COVID cases, which are in the dark blue. I know it's very hard to see. Dark blue line right here. Student quarantines are up in the blue. Staff COVID are in the dark green, and staff quarantine are in that light green model. So we saw a peak back in November, December, especially during that time that we went remote learning. But ever since the week of 125, our cases have been going down and been going down drastically, which is great. Right now, we currently have, I believe that's 0 staff members that have tested positive for COVID, and only 1 or 2 the last couple weeks. Bridget, would you like to slide over to the left a little bit? And then our students, we've had 1 and 26 quarantined. So our numbers are drastically going down, which is a good thing. And with that, seeing the numbers going down, the Franklin County positivity rate is right around 5%. Numbers in Franklin County continue to go down. We're still not out of the woods. COVID's still here. Understand that, but we also have to learn to live with it, and we have to learn to adapt to how we're going to educate our kids during this time. And so as we start back, we're going to continue to follow all our safety protocols. Masks are a mandate. We cannot get away from that, and we will continue to wear masks. If students would like to wear a double mask, they can do that. If they want to wear a face shield with a mask, that's perfectly fine, but they have to have a mask on. Social distancing. Social distancing will be an issue. Schools were not designed for social distancing. So 3 to 6 feet is going to be very challenging in some of our classes. I'm just going to let everyone know that right now. We're going to do our best to maintain 3 feet of social distancing, but we're going to have some rooms that have a larger number of kids that I can't guarantee every second, every minute of the day, or every period, we're going to have that 3 feet of social distancing. Masks will absolutely be worn, and that's good. I think if we go back and go back to the first days of social distancing, that rule was put in place for people not wearing a mask. And then when they went with social distancing and the mask mandate, they kept that in place. You could look at different organizations from the CDC to WHO, the World Health Organization, to the American Academy of Pediatrics. They all have a different version on what is appropriate, what's not. Some say 6 feet, some say 3 feet is good. They all say you must wear a mask. So we're going to do our best every single day to try to provide that at least 3 feet of social distancing with our kids. We're basically doubling the amount of kids we're getting back to our buildings. Classrooms were not designed for that type of social distancing, but we're going to do our best to arrange the furniture. Well, we got 3 feet from desk to desk as best as we possibly can. But I can't sit there and say it's going to be every single day, or every single period. We know lunch is always going to be a concern. We have a large amount of kids in the lunchrooms. We're going to do our best to maintain that, what we have been doing now. We've gotten more lunch tables for the high school, more for the middle school, so we can expand the kids out into other areas. I know they're eating lunch in the classrooms at the middle or at the elementary building, but that social distancing is going to be an issue. I'm not going to sit here and lie. There are 411 school districts going back full-time right now in the state of Ohio. So that social distancing is an issue for everyone. It's just not a Canal Winchester thing.
How much of that will be face-to-face, meaning you're going to have kids sitting behind one another, correct? So
Correct.
It'll be a face-to-face.
Correct. They're set up right now that it's, yes, you're facing one another, and we will continue that. So group work and all the stuff that we haven't been doing, or if they were, it was in smaller groups that you can spread them out, probably will not be able to happen right now. So kids will be in rows not facing each other, but they're kids, and they're going to lean over to their neighbor, their partner in front of them and back of them. We know that. So, it's up to our parents to make sure that they're telling their kids, wear your face mask, wear it properly, not down below your nose, but wear it over your nose. It's uncomfortable, we know that, but in order for us to stay in school and to keep everyone safe, we must do that. When we talk about why we want to get kids back to school, I'm always going to consider the health and wellness of our students and staff number one. But I also have to look at the academic and social and emotional needs of our kids. And our kids truly need to be back in school. Excuse me, our kids need to be back in school more days. They're already in school 2 days a week. We need to expand that to make sure we get to 4 days and then 5 days by the end of the school year. I've always said that was my plan, to get our kids expanded that school day to a 4 and 5 day week. And so that is the plan right now. I've had great discussions with our CWEA leadership. We will continue to work with them to any concerns or issues that we're going to face over the next several weeks. We're getting more kids, expanding the school days, more kids being in the building. We're going to do our best to work with them. I know my principals will be working with their building leadership teams to figure out, to sit down and talk about some of those issues and concerns. I will say at the elementary level, you know, the first week or two, we're probably going to have some cars lined up on Gender Road because of the drop-off and pickup. So we're going to get with the mayor to make sure he understands and, you know, puts out a little blurb to the community, knowing that we might have some backup on Gender Road. Transportation, we're working on that. We're going to have different routes. If your transportation is going to change, you will get a call from the transportation department. We don't expect too many of that, but we're going to add another 2 routes to make sure we're able to pick up every kid and keep them at least 2 per seat on the bus. And so as we move forward, we're going to continue to mask, social distance, hand wash, sanitize, our cleaning protocols, and we're going to continue to work with our staff to make sure that all their issues are addressed in a timely manner. I want to make sure we're bringing kids back and they're safe in healthy learning environments, but I also want to make sure we're doing the best academically, socially, and emotionally for our kids.
All right, Mr. Sattler?
Yes.
Can you discuss what makes the 22nd your preferred day to increase the days?
Correct. We're going to expand. We're going to, for those students that are in hybrid right now, we're going to give the parents till next week to make a change. I've heard from several school districts that there were some kids that made a change, and then there were a few that many kids made a change from hybrid to the koala. So I want to make sure that, I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to make sure that I have enough time for my building principals and the counselors to adjust schedules to make sure that everything is right moving forward. So we felt that March 22nd would fit the need much better.
And then, Mr. Sattler, could you talk a little bit about the Wednesdays? Because I know, talking to some of the teachers, I know that seemed to be a day that they really felt was important. And then I also understand we're going to be using some of our cleaning protocols. So, you know, just talk a little bit about that, because I know some parents are going to be on one side or the other. Why aren't we back 5 days versus, you know, why, you know, they're going to have those concerns. So just talk a little bit about why we're using Wednesdays as a remote day.
Yeah, correct. Right now, the month of April, that Wednesday, the primary purpose is for our koala students to get them in the building to take the state test.
Okay.
Okay, we know the parents are in koalas. They feel comfortable. We've been doing MAP testing, which is a district assessment throughout the year, and we have been bringing them in on those Wednesdays. So we want to keep that moving forward. This is a federal test mandated by the federal government, so we want to make sure we have environments that are conducive for them to take these tests. Outside of that, we have many teachers, about 37 teachers who teach both in-person and koala students. 30 of them have very little time built in their schedule to meet with koala students. So those Wednesdays are spent with their kids during that time. We also have students coming in from who are academically behind on those Wednesdays to work with teachers. We have our special needs kids, a group of special needs kids will come into the buildings on those days to provide extra support for them. And so there are a variety of reasons why those Wednesdays are very important for our staff. But at the same time, once we get through state testing, this will give us time to figure out how we're going to adjust those schedules moving forward. And then we'll come back to May. But koala state testing is the big reason why we're doing it.
Okay.
For Wednesdays.
Any questions or comments from the board, please?
So for the students that did test positive during the school year for COVID, how many of them did you do contact tracing to find that they contracted it during the school day at school?
Very, very, very few. I think the last time that they actually contacted or spread it through the school might have been a handful.
Actually, where a person at school then quarantined and somebody in that quarantine became positive that doesn't live with the family or that we have one case that we can actually attach to. Oh, I'm sorry. So we actually have one case that we know, it was actually a staff, where there's 2 staff members that were in contact with each other. And those 2, that situation. So for students, we have not been able to actually tie any contact with a quarantine other than household. Obviously, household members would be different.
Just to be clear, I just wanted to make sure we clarify this. If we do see a change in the numbers as we bring more students back in, that obviously we've given you the flexibility to adjust the schedule. So we feel like the plan that we're putting in place or that you're proposing today isn't working or it does work. I mean, we can always adjust it based on what our numbers will look like in the building.
Absolutely. I will have no problem changing. If we see a huge spike in quarantine and COVID cases, I will have no problems adjusting the schedule. It might be per building. It might just be a building issue, or it could be a district-wide issue. I did that over winter break when we went to remote learning because we saw a spike in quarantine cases, not only in kids, but in our staff. And so I have to make sure we have enough people to supervise kids while they're in the building, but also at the same time, make sure it's not spreading. I mean, we're bringing back double the kids, from where we were to now. And so, there are going to be some issues and concerns as we move forward. We're going to continue to work with our building principals, the teachers, the CWEA leadership team to address those concerns. And we're doing our best to provide safe and healthy learning environments for our kids. That's the main goal. But, I firmly believe we have to get our kids, we have to expand the number of school days for our kids. So we're going to go 4, and then we're transition to 5 come May.
I understand that you are aware how invaluable those Wednesdays are for teachers. How do you plan to address their needs in May, especially the ones that teach in person and Koala, and they really use those Wednesdays to get the planning, the collaboration with other teachers, the creating their materials, and using those times to meet with the students who may need extra help and parents and so forth?
Yeah, our building principals will spend the next couple of weeks meeting with them, discussing it, how can we get it done. I know we are going to post a few positions. I think we're going to post a few parapro positions that we did not have this year. But because we were in hybrid, there was not a need for them. So we're going to post a few parapro positions to help our buildings out in regards to our kids coming back in some of the special needs area and other places. One of the things I'm going to ask for during this time is, we've loosened our restrictions or our guidance on substitute teachers. So basically, if you have a high school degree and if you could pass the background check, we're going to use you as a sub just for help with supervision. If you know of anyone out there that wants to sub, please have them contact the school district, the human services, or what's that? Human Resources Department, and we'll get you set up through the ESC of Central Ohio. I have my daughter who is going to do that. I said, look, you got to help out because we don't know what's going to happen. And so the more people that we have at our hands to help with sub coverage on some of those days would even be better. But our building principals will be working with their building leadership team to figure out how we're going to work through that come May. Okay. And I'm pretty sure we're going to come up with some solutions.
And similarly, the buildings themselves, they will be working out Koala students testing in May.
Correct. Yep. That will happen in May with the Koala testing, yeah. Or excuse me, April. My fault. April.
Any other questions, comments?
I want folks to know that this looks like it's in a nice, pretty package, but there's been a lot of work put into this behind the scenes. I know I spent most of the weekend talking to Jim and other board members, and I know Jim spent a lot of time with CWEA and Carl and everybody. So it looks like, hey, this is kind of an easy solution. Here it is. There's been a number of hours put into this solution, a lot of thought, and a lot of purpose behind it. And I want to thank Carla and the crew for sending out the survey and hearing the concerns of the teachers and the staffs. I look forward to, because I read all 18 pages of that, which I appreciate, and that's, that I look forward to, Jim coming back from the principals and the building leaders to say, hey, here's all the concerns, but here are the solutions for those concerns. And I know you didn't ask for solutions, you just said, give me your concerns. And based on that, I'm looking through there going, oh, wow, this is a great PBL project to figure out how do we work around the concerns and actually come up with solutions. So I look forward to hearing some of that at the next board meeting as time goes on, so that we can make sure that those Wednesdays that are important, how do we work around some of those schedules? How do we make sure the dual teachers are appropriately supported? So. But I do appreciate, again, a lot of time and effort's been put into this all year round, but especially just right here, expanding these school days. So thank you for all your help and everyone's help putting this together with Jim. So
Yeah, and I'd like to second that by saying that this has been a very unusual, very unique situation from March of last year until now. And I want to thank the administrators, the principals, all the staff members and the teachers. I know firsthand, being in the classroom and planning lessons that change 2, 3, 4 times a year, how difficult it was. And we all know this was not an optimum situation, but you guys came out gangbusters. I can't tell you how proud I am of you and all the students who did their jobs. Any other comments or questions?
I just wanted to say and echo those sentiments as well. But for me, I just really want our district to get it right this time. I know it can be kind of difficult sometimes for everyone involved to keep switching different formats. Parents, they have to adjust their work schedules, go through their employers, and the anxiety that the students may have by getting used to a particular structure, and they're in their routine, and then all of a sudden it switches directions. Like, I know Mr. Butler said, if this doesn't work out, he posed the question that this is flexible and we can tweak it again. I'm hoping we don't have to keep doing that, especially so close to the end of the school year. So that's why I'm more kind of reserved about seemingly jumping into the 4 to 5 day. The 4-day I'm pretty comfortable with, but the going to the 5-day for the entire month of May through the end of the school year. If we can do it safely, that's good, but I want to make sure that we're kind of considering everything, taking it more slowly than hurrying to get this done, because I wouldn't want this to keep changing for everyone. I want this to be right. That's
I
all.
agree. I want it right too. I don't want to have change schedule after schedule. That's not what I want to do. And I haven't done that. We just did that one time, which was necessary during the winter break. But my goal is to stick with the schedule. We get it out to parents now. They have enough time to plan for what's going to happen over the next 2 months, and we go from there. Those concerns of keeping everyone safe and healthy are very important to me. We've worked on it all year. I want to continue that. But I also have that academic, social, and emotional needs of our students. And I think, expanding it from 4 to 5 is where we need to go in regards to, right now, it looks like we're going to come back, hopefully, in a full school year, 5 days a week for everyone next school year. So kind of transition to that end of the school year, 5 days, and then we'll start back up. So, but thank you. I appreciate everyone's comments. There is no right or wrong answer here. Everyone's going to have a different opinion on it. And whatever decision we make, there will be some people that are going to be happy with it, some people that are not. Our job is to do what we think is best for Canal Winchester local schools, the students, the staff, the community. We're going to make that decision, move on, and hopefully end up with a very good school year.
And I just wanted to definitely say thank you to our parents. I know we've been talking about staff and as board members, I know we put a lot of work into it, but I want to make sure I said something about them because they, particularly our parents who have been at home working with our kids, and they've been flexible and they've been working with us throughout the whole course of this year. So as we transition to a expanded schedule, I know that for them, there's a lot of concerns, and I know a lot of them are probably watching this evening. So I just wanted to make sure I acknowledge them because they put a lot of work in the school year. And like Mr. Yanati was saying, this has definitely been an unusual school year, and hopefully, once we get past this and turn that corner, this will be kind of in the rearview mirror. But as we move forward, I just wanted to make sure I acknowledge them because as we make these changes, we know it affects them too. So they've been flexible and they've been working with us. So we just wanted to make sure we acknowledge them and thank them for all the hard work they've done this school year.
Absolutely. It's been extremely stressful on them.
Absolutely.
at
And
home
they've
with the
been
kids.
very flexible with us. So we just,
Yeah.
like Mrs. Talley was saying, we just want to make sure we get it right. So then that way we can give them a sense of stability as well.
I concur.
Yep.
Anything else from the board? Any need for a public voice?
Thank you.
Anyone have any?
Do they have anything they want to add on?
Okay.
Okay, that being said, is there any need for executive session?
We do not have a need for executive session.
Okay,
So as of right now, my proposal is what I just proposed right now. And we'll get it out to our public as soon as this meeting's over, and we'll move forward.
Okay.
okay. All right.
Any further questions, comments?
Okay, well then, I will need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
And Ms. Talley. Ms. Roberts, if you'd please call the roll.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Krueger?
Yes.
Mr. Metzler?
Yes.
Mr. Yanni?
Yes. And that would be what, 6:30 or 6:28?
6:27.
Got it. Thank you.